So, good evening from a beautiful sunny Wirral. It's a great evening, lovely and warm. I'm going out for a couple of pints with my mates later on, so I've just come online just to comment on Rachel Reeves' spending review. I'm going to cover a couple of articles, so I will pause the video. It might jump around a little bit because I'm crap at editing. I don't know what to do it. Anyway, let's move forward. So the first thing I'm looking at is an article on the NRLA website, National Residential Landlords Association, and it goes spending review fails landlords and tenants. Chancellor Rachel Reeves, and this is the article, has missed opportunity to address the significant challenges facing landlords and tenants in today's spending review. The Chancellor announced plans to invest 39 million in affordable housing, but failed to commit to the investment necessary if the private rented sector is to meet current demand, with several suggesting 1 million new homes to rent will be needed by 2031. The NRLA has welcomed news of the cash injection, but said it will do nothing to improve prospects for those struggling to find a rental home now, or landlords within the sector facing increased legislation and costs. So, new renters' rights bill coming in, EP's changes to EPC legislation. NRLA Chief Executive Ben Beadle said today's spending review does nothing to tackle immediate pressures on the private rental market. And again, he restates the fact it does nothing to support the delivery of the extra 1 million homes needed by 2021, according to Savills. And it does nothing to support those renters struggling to buy a home. The government's freeze on housing benefit. As a result of the government's freeze on housing benefit. There's a bit more to this, and they haven't covered that, so I'm just going to pause the recording, and I'm going to find another article where it does cover it. Okay, back again. So I've logged onto the Guardian website. For all of you who think the Guardian is a leftist paper, it's actually a liberal paper, by the way. Angela Rayner has one of the biggest wins from the spending review with her big new budget for affordable homes, but it reflects the fact she has one of the toughest targets to meet, a manifesto pledge to build 1.5 million homes by the end of Parliament, which most experts say cannot be met. I'd agree. I don't think she can do it. Rayner fought for weeks over the settlement and was the second last to settle with the Treasury. For that, she secured £39 billion for new social housing over the next decade, a big boost to the current figure of 2.3 billion a year under the last government. So the Conservatives said 2.3 billion a year. But there will be very tight settlements for local councils. Doesn't sound good for local authority apart from this one. The Ministry of Housing, Communities and Local Government is facing a 1.4% real terms cut over the course of the spending review. So yet again, they're cutting local authorities. And yeah, I'm an ex-trade union rep. I used to represent for Unison at national level, local, regional and national. I know Angela Rayner quite well, personally. It surprises me that this, because a cut to, disappointed, shall we say that. Over the course of the spending review, the Local Government Association has warned councils remain under severe financial pressure and that council tax increases are likely, as well as possible future service cuts. So there's no change from the Conservative government there, which is pretty much a disgrace, because I know that Angela Rayner has campaigned against cuts to local public services for many years, and now she seems to be complicit in the cuts. I'm not saying this spending review is bad, by the way. I think it's quite good with health and defence, etc. Okay, Rayner may also feel the pressure of the government's decision to end the use of asylum hotels. So if you don't know, the government said by the end of this Parliament, hotels will not be used to house asylum seekers, which may mean an increased pressure on social housing. So yeah, it could be the councils are expected to house them. We don't know that one yet. So that's basically it. There is a bit more on that. I read an article in Landlord's Mail. I'll just scoot over to that one. I think I've got it here. I've got some news here. Breaking news. Again, it's an article by Graham Norwood, so all credit to him. And Graham Norwood has said, Chancellor Reeves has used the spending review statement in the Commons to reveal that she will nearly double government spending on affordable housing. Don't get this is different people's take on it. So you've had the Guardian's take, you had Ben Beadle's take, you're now getting landlords today, Graham Norwood's take. And she is allowing social housing landlords to hike rents above inflation over the next 10 years. She says some 39 billion will be spent over 10 years for local authorities, private developers and housing associations to create social housing. So she's not talking private rental sector, she's talking social housing. So there's some of these firms, they do build to rent schemes. So you might have heard they can be quite controversial. The rents apparently skyrocket quite high. This average of 3.9 billion a year is a significant increase again from the 2.5 billion allocated annually under the 21-26 Conservative scheme under the Conservative government. Reeves told MPs social housing had been neglected for too long. I'd agree, yeah, it has. But not by this Labour government. A new affordable homes programme, which she is investing 39 billion over the next decade. Direct government funding that will support house building, especially for social rent. And I am pleased to report that towns and cities, including Blackpool, Preston, Sheffield and Swindon, so mostly in the north, which is good, by the way, already have plans to bring forward bids to build new houses. Social landlords to raise rents by 1% above consumer price index of inflation for the next 10 years. This doubles a 5-year rent rise period announced by Reeves last year. I don't do social housing. Please tell me in the comments below whether this is a good idea or not. I don't know. The government is also reported to be consulting on how to implement the return of rent convergence, which is quite interesting to me. Rent convergence, which allows cheaper social rents to rise more quickly to ensure alignment between rents on different properties. We need this in the private rental sector, by the way. It had been scrapped in 2015 by a former Conservative government, so they were keeping the rents down. Potentially not a bad thing, but where's the money coming from? If you don't put the rents up, where's the money coming from to maintain these properties? You've got to think about that as well. And I'm not, social housing tends to be people on benefits. I'm not saying it's all people on benefits. I know people who are in council houses that work, but you need to put the rents up because you need to pay for the maintenance. And social housing has suffered, and I know around here, having been in some ex-council houses that have been released to the market, needing significant investment because they've been neglected, because the money's not there. And around here we have a couple of housing associations. There's no actual council houses. It's now a housing association called Magenta Living. Now, they have initially done a lot of work on their own properties. However, since last 10 years, most probably not so much. So, the maintenance is dropping back again. I actually bought a flat in a Magenta Living block, ex-council flat, and renovated it to a very high standard. I sold it for what I wanted. I seen the state of a renovation in the flat below me, and it was abysmal. And what we'd done and what they were doing was totally different. So people tell you social housing is good standard. What I saw there wasn't. It was nowhere near what standard I put in mine. So, yeah. Sorry, I get on my high horse a little bit sometimes. The government also reported consultant housing return of rent convergence. Like I said, we need this in the private rented sector. We need to be able to bring those rents up to the market rate. Other announcements in Reeves' speech, some leaked in the government in recent days, includes, and he goes on to talk about the NHS getting 29 billion per year day-to-day spending, which is great because the NHS is fantastic. I've got nothing but praise for our NHS, and it goes through defence, etc., etc. So that's me for this one. Give you a little bit of an overview of Rachel Reeves' spending review. Let me know what you think in the comments. I also have a podcast called Efficiency in Property Investing. I'll put a link in the comments. Please like, subscribe and share. It costs nothing to share, it means a huge amount to me. I'm so grateful for any support you can give me. So enjoy the rest of your evening. I'm going to have a couple of nice cold pints and speak to you soon. Keep moving forward.